Hi, my name is Archelena, and this is Afterimage, any percent, no major glitches, aka restricted. Just clearing a file to start a new run. Okay, so Afterimage is a hand-drawn 2D Metroidvania that is open world and has some Souls-like elements. So that was a lot. We'll break it down as we go, but I just want to first just point out how beautiful this game is. The backgrounds, characters, the artwork. It's a gorgeous game. Honestly, one of the first things that caught my attention. But yeah, like many Souls or Souls-like games, the game starts off with a forced death boss fight. And that's where we are here. We're gonna fight this wolf and do this little technique where we crouch to cancel our attack to attack quicker. So we get to finish off this wolf real quick and position ourselves where the wolf will do this laser attack that will instantly kill us rather than run around and take a bunch of time. It's a little finicky, but when it works you save a couple seconds. So the story of this game is that the main character, Renee, has the ability to come back to life after she dies, as is in good Souls fashion. And how that's explained in this game is that in this world, when people die, their souls get sent to the Sea of Souls. But Renee has this ability to come out of the Sea of Souls in these tree-like structures called confluences, and when she dies, as of souls, you can go back and collect your souls, and you know, that's just the narrative explanation. But right there, we just did our first skip where rather than go left and fight another boss, we just jump up and skip that to get onto that platform. Right there, you saw two characters. Our mentor was on the ground, Arrows, she just died. And then this other girl took her soul and ran away. Because in this world, when you die, your soul can be put into another body and you can be brought back to life. But we don't know that. All we saw was a girl run away with our mentor's soul. Here, we're going to collect this item that we're going to use to upgrade our weapons and break these crystals called dues. Dues are the currency of this game. You can use to upgrade weapons, buy things. They are not experience like you might find in other Souls games. But here we're going to be navigating to our first boss, so we can talk a bit about this game. Afterimage came out this year in April 2023, and I myself and my wife, Trash Lapras, started speedrunning this game in June because we both really enjoyed this game, and we're like, hey, what if we made a speedrun? And we just worked on making a route and optimizing different strats. We've had some other runners come with different routes and strategies, and the run since has improved by like half an hour from when we first started out. So it's come a long way, and it's great to see whenever some new folks come and join the game to speedrun it, because it's a great game casually, and it's also a really fun speedrun. Here we have our first boss, question mark, question mark, question mark, and you'll get to see why we're using the scythe, which is one of the 6 weapons in this game. So normally the scythe just goes 1-2, 1-2, but here you can see our damage rotation is actually a quick 1-2-3. A regular attack, a crouch attack, and then a jump attack. So we can cancel the unlag of different attacks to speed up our rotation and do some pretty fast damage. And just so happens that the sites that we're going to be grabbing just happen to be in nice locations for the route. That's our first fight. Trial Souls, actually, this boss rush mode that was added in version 1.2. Really cool. We won't get to see that in this PB of mine, but one potential incentive that you get out of the Trial Souls are different outfits / colors for Renee. So one potential incentive is donators getting to choose the color that Renee will be. I think there's like blue, like a fire color, and a gold outfit in addition to her base outfit. But anyway, we just went through the town, which is sort of like the hub of this game, and we are navigating to find some advice on where that girl took our mentor's soul. A neat little thing about this game is a lot of story moments don't actually have any flags or triggers that block progression, so we do need to come this way for a movement ability, but we don't actually need to figure out, like, narratively what happened. So we're gonna go up here, do some platforming through these fireball traps, which can be pretty difficult to navigate when you're first starting out. There's lots of enemies in that first part. But here we're gonna grab the bronze scythe, which is the next tier of weapons. Unfortunately, I get by this fireball, which avoids me out and sends me back. But as I mentioned earlier, there are 6 weapons in this game, and they have different tiers of how strong they are. So we started off with the wooden scythe, and now we got our bronze scythe, which does a lot more damage. So this is just a pretty long platforming section. After that first bit of all the enemies and fireballs, it's pretty chill from here. Breaking some of these do for money that we're going to use to buy armor and upgrade our weapon later. You can run various routes, strategies for the any % route, namely in what armor you get. For the sake of marathon and also just my preferred way to run this game, I like to get armor. Makes fights safer, less scary, but that does require you to spend some time grabbing the money. Here we are coming up to a mini-boss to get our first movement ability. Gonna use that scythe rotation to make quick work of this first stone warrior fella. Second one will spawn. No matter how fast you kill the first one, the second one always spawns on a timer, so you take your time. And here I'm going to use that crouch canceling technique to attack really fast on this enemy that's not moving. It can be really difficult to use that technique on enemies that, you know, actually attack you. But on that second one that just has a bow, after it shoots an arrow, you can just like stand at a distance and it can't hit you. So that's a free place to use that technique. But from there, we got the ability to crouch slide. And we're gonna see how the movement evolves throughout the run. So we're gonna be doing this dash into crouch slide cancel, and that just lets us move quickly horizontally, which horizontal movement is our quickest way of traversing in this game. So you're gonna see us dashing and crouch sliding a lot just to get around as quickly as possible. And that's one of the cool things about this run, is that, like many Metroidvanias, as you progress, you get different movement abilities, and that just changes how you traverse the game. Here we're at another platforming section, and we have to deal with these kitties that throw bombs. So here I'm going to just position myself barely to hop over them, so that I don't have to spend time jumping and attacking and hitting them one at a time to get through. Yeah, this would be a pretty chill time for donations. It's just some pretty straightforward navigation. Doing our best to use the dash, crouch, slide, cancel where we can to speed things up a little bit. Gonna skip that confluence, which is like a bonfire in Souls games, to teleport and heal, because we don't need to heal right now. We won't need to come back here. Here we're gonna do a movement technique that will help us do a slightly out of sequence skip to get this chest. Normally you would need double jump to get that, but when you attack in the air you get a little bit of air floating that lets you traverse a little bit more horizontally, which lets us slightly close the gap and get a weapon that is sort of out of order in the where we are currently. I mentioned those tiers and how strong weapon is. This is the Blackwood Katana, which is the 3rd tier of weapon after the bronze weapons. And we grab that just to speed up the next fight coming up. Up, heal again, and making our way up here. We did another hover to skip a section where you have to go down and around. Grab some potions for safety. They're right there, so it doesn't really take any time to grab them. And you get 2 from that chest, as opposed to some chests that only drop 1, so it's not really that much of a time loss for what you get. Okay, this is Lost. Fight is mostly consistent. The patterns can change a little bit based on how much damage you do. You can see the damages aren't entirely consistent. There's like a slight damage range. But for the most part, it doesn't really change. Second phase, Lost throws out these projectiles that you can deflect. And if you get right next to them, you can deflect the projectiles and also hit them with your katana. And there we just got double jump as well as dive kicking or pogoing. So we can pogo off these little propeller guys. This harpy sometimes just flies into the traps and dies on its own. Didn't happen here, and that's gonna mess up my money management a little bit because I wasn't ready for it. But it'll work out. So as I mentioned earlier, horizontal movement is our quickest form of movement. So something you're gonna see a lot is a runner is pogoing to get to the ground as quickly as possible to continue that horizontal movement. Breaking some more dues for money. I'm gonna make use of that pogo to jump up here real quick instead of having to go up and around. We're gonna go back to town via this confluence, which would make for another chill segment that could potentially take some donations. But basically, we're just coming back here to grab some armor and make the rest of the run safer. It's about a minute of a detour.
I've made some new weapons.
As I mentioned earlier, my money management was a little messed up, so here you can see me fumbling a little bit. Like, why don't I have enough money?
Let me see.
It works out in the end, but I lose a bit of time not knowing what's going on. And my menuing's a little choppy here as I recover. But gonna put my skill points into just becoming a little stronger. So levels in this game don't really affect your damage or your HP by themselves. You do get some skill points that you can put into the talent tree, which can add some damage and some HP, but really damage in this game comes from your armor, or damage and HP really come from your equipment in this game. But in the early game, 1 or 2 points of damage does speed up some fights, so we do it when we can and try to minimize the number of times we need to open the menu by just doing that all at once. Hitboxes are a little finicky with when enemies spawn. I was unable to get through that second enemy, and then I bonk into this enemy, and then I hit the elevator, which sends it up. Unfortunate sequence of events here. Now I have to wait for the elevator to come back down. But we're gonna move on to the next boss fight in the run. Okay, so this is Os, and Os's mechanics of the fight is that she only takes 1 damage until you stun her. I actually realized at this point that I did not change my scythe. So it's not based on the quantity of hits, but actually like a certain amount of damage to stun her. So now she's getting stunned much quicker. And when she's stunned, you can actually deal damage to her. You can only drop her HP so far for her second phase. But in the second phase, no more stun shenanigans and her attacks get more complicated. Toss is one of the RNG more, one of the fights that's more RNG dependent, because you can get different attack patterns that you can lose time on. This wasn't too bad. Finish her off pretty quickly. Yeah, warp back over to this tree. This used to be a bit of a boss gauntlet where we'd immediately run to the right, and if we would die, we would go all the way back to whatever was the last conflict we took. It's a little bit faster to warp back up to that tree. And the next fight's pretty safe now, but this used to be pretty scary. This is Crystal Wolf, has a preset pattern. You can deflect these projectiles to do a bunch of damage, and just wail away at it. And the whole reason that we fought Os was to get to a whistle that lets us ride our new friend, Fui the Manta Ray. This lets us go to the overworld, where we can reach new parts in the game. And this is where the open world aspect of the game really starts to show itself. But first, we have to make a quick stop at this island to open the gate. That'll let us get to the other side of the open world. So this is another chill moment in the game. Not too many of those, to be honest. It's a pretty intense game. A lot of platforming into combat, into just lots of things to do. So it's nice to have some calm sections. But this would be another nice place for donations. Here you can see a lot of more of that slide and dash movement. So we're gonna go to a section that many players, I believe casually, will go to first, because you know it's right here outside of the gate. Why not go here first? This is actually one of the later sections in the game, so many players might come here and be like, why are enemies so strong? Well, that's the open world nature of the game. We come here because we're gonna get a weapon that is for the later game, which will help us for us in the run, and we need to come here later, so we can just come back later through teleporting. Unfortunately, there's one of these flies sometimes spawns underneath there, then you can like bait it to come back up and pogo on top of it instead of waiting for them to come out of that plant. We don't know why sometimes it doesn't show up. And we're gonna do another pogo off a fly to skip navigating down and around. This is probably the area that has changed the most from the original route that Trash Lapras and I made months ago. Turns out being able to pogo on those flies lets you skip a very scary navigation section where you have to dodge flies and poison plants and plants that teleport to the ground. It was quite scary back in the day, but now it's not too bad. So navigating though, and sometimes these knights can sort of trick you by dashing back before attacking, and sometimes you pogo right onto them as they dash back, and it can be pretty scary. I'm gonna use these two knights to pogo up here to grab some safety potions. Here, you'll see why it's not really any of a time loss to come here first, because we need to get this, we can grab this confluence and teleport to it later, and like I said, we come back here later anyway. Right there was an echo. You may have seen me grab a couple of those. Echoes give a bit of lore information and then also give some experience. These happen to give quite a lot for where we are right now, so just grabbing one sometimes just levels you up. Some runners may choose to come back here and do this navigating later when they're at higher level, or have more movement abilities to make this a little safer. I personally go up and around first and open this gate because I want to get to level 20 as quickly as possible. While levels don't intrinsically affect how much damage or HP you do or have, different skills do have a minimum level requirement, and at level 20 we get a new skill for our scythe. And it just happens to work out that we get to level 20 pretty comfortably before the next boss fight. But now that we've gotten our weapon and unlocked that tree, we'll go where we're actually supposed to go. This is another calm section, commentary-wise, and it's pretty easy, comparatively. Nothing too scary. Nothing really one or two shots you here. Cutscene here. Who's that? Why does she look like us? Oh, she's gone. Never mind. No story. We're gonna do another hover here that lets us just get over here without having to navigate down and around, or up and around. Okay. It's been a while since I played this game casually. But here we're making use of all those skill points that we've gotten.
Please.
So that skill that we got with the scythe. I actually don't need this money here, and I realize that I don't need it, but as you may have seen, that's spin attack with the scythe hits 5 times, So it's good for breaking dues, and it does roughly 2.5 times the damage of regular attack. Each tick of the spin is roughly half the damage of regular attack. So with our new damage rotation, that's gonna boost our damage output. And we're gonna use it to tear apart this boss real quick. This is failure. Failure always starts the fight the same way unless you do so much damage that you go to the next phase before he does more projectiles. So, new damage rotation, Rondo, and failure is dead. Now we have the wall jump. Little fact here, there's a cutscene right there, but you can just jump over the trigger. And this little, or big robot friend rather, will tell us how to get to the place where that girl took our mentor. And also gives us a teleporter. We're gonna make our way to the next fight. Doing more of that dive kicking to get to the ground as quickly as possible. Break this back of the wall to come as a shortcut back later. And wow, she's right here. We found her. And then she kills this rando. So this is the Unstoppable Devil. This fight can be pretty tricky to do quickly because these shockwaves can have lingering hitboxes that if you get too aggressive you can just bump into them. And I want to say this is a 2-shot fight. About halfway through the fight she'll do this Crystal Rain attack where you just have to weave in and out to dodge. But this fight goes really well, and finish off real quick. She kills us, quote unquote. Said she sends us to this confluence that we never saw. And now is time for another pretty long platforming slash navigation section. Lots of enemies, lots of projectiles. Fun fact, if a runner is going armorless, the run's been a one-shot kill since, I want to say, Oz. So this is pretty scary. For us, I want to say it's a 2-shot if you have the proper armor and didn't have that money kerfluffle that I did. But we're making our way to the next area. Weaving up and around these enemies. Doing my best not to get hit by these random bubbles that honestly seem to attract you to the ends of the earth. One neat thing about this game is that when you're nearby a confluence, you can see all these routes, and that'll like tell you that, hey, there's a confluence nearby, maybe go look around. So here we're in Silent Coast, another difficult area, because these rabbits like to shoot projectiles and chase you. We've got these clamps that charge at you, all while these bunnies chase you, and it's a little nerve-wracking. I grab these potions here, a rabbit chases me. Sometimes they have chased me into the next boss room, and it's like, why are you here? But if that doesn't happen, this boss, Runic Guardian, is honestly a breath of fresh air after a pretty intensive section. As long as you stay next to it, its attack pattern's pretty simple, and you can just burst it down real quick. Right there, we grabbed another one of the weapon types in this game. The dual blades? Dual blades, twin blades, daggers. So we got the golden car. That will let us take this boat to where we need to go. There is a bit of a bug here where sometimes, even if you have the golden car, the ghost boatman doesn't show up to take you to the next area. It hasn't happened to me in a while. We don't know what causes it. I've taken a break from this game for a couple months, so I honestly don't know if it's been patched out or not yet. Used to lose several PB paces here, which has been unfortunate, but in a marathon we can just save and quit and go through Silent Coast again. Of course, in a PB, unfortunately, that's usually just run dead unless you're like a minute ahead. But here we have a nice chill boat ride. Take some donations and just prepare ourselves for the last section of the run. This game's so pretty. Another potion for safety. Totally missed the chest. So as I mentioned earlier, the game doesn't really check for flags or triggers to see what you've done story-wise. So there's Eros. Bye, Eros. We're actually over here to talk to this giant jellyfish for the ability to swim. Because in this game, water is deadly. Probably has something to do with connection to that Sea of Souls that we just happen to be able to go through. But now we're back here on Holy Grounds. And we're gonna make our way to what is, for me, the hardest fight in the run. Okay, this is Valo. So Valo has a bunch of different attacks with different visual cues, and when her sword flashes, she does like an upgraded attack. So regular version of that, she just jumps and swings down. With her upgraded version, she leaves behind this ball of light. So casually, Valo is one of the places where people really start to experience the whole open world part of the game where they're like, oh wait a minute, this boss fight's really hard. Maybe I'm not supposed to be here. Oh, and this is the first case where we're going to see the use of those dual blades. So the main reason that I use these dual blades, not all runners choose to use them, it's really just preference, is for the sort of like uppercut skill. And that just happens to combo nicely after Rondo, and also for the final boss, just good positioning. Here in the second phase, all of Valo's attacks are upgraded, and she takes a lot less damage, but whenever she attacks, she uses up some of her HP. So you can sort of make it as a endurance fight, or you can speed up the fight by attacking her. This used to be one of the roadblocks when we were first learning this game. Just spending an hour or two learning how to do this fight without taking more than 1 or 2 hits. Eventually we just started using potions and learning the fight better. But Once she gets low enough, she'll charge up for the super attack. You just go to the edge of the arena, and that's the fight. We have one last section and boss of the run. Making our way down to the Sunken Sanctum, which will be the reason why we needed the ability to swim in the first place. But this would be another good place for donations. It's a pretty chill section after everything that we've gone through. Just jumping into books, don't mind me. The Sunken Sanctum is, as the name suggests, flooded with water. But we can swim now, so we're okay. A little funny thing about in water is you have infinite jumps, so I like to spam jump and just sort of flap my wings. I'm gonna go over here, navigate around these electric cubes to get armor that'll make the final boss a 2-shot rather than a 1-shot. Unfortunately, get hit by the first try, but get it on the second try. Flop, 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 flop. And we are making our way through this side of the sanctum to get a key that will let us open a door to the left side where the final boss is waiting for us.
This tunnel.
Almost went down too early. Then teleport back up to that tree. You can barely make this dive kick if you're quick enough, but if you miss it, then you have to go. You get voided out to before the first cube. So I just waited there. Okay. That's all the navigation. We use the key to open this door. And now we take the elevator to the final boss. One last confluence for safety. And here is the last fight, who is now named Guider. So this is the same boss that we fought in the beginning. Her first phase is identical to her second phase of the first fight. Except she does a lot more damage now. And about a quarter of the way, she will go into her final form. And her attacks are upgraded once again. You can see us using the Rondo into dual blade skill combo. And that just happens to give us the positioning to dodge a lot of her attacks. This triple slash is really difficult to dodge. normally. So it's just nice to be able to avoid that attack. I find this fight easier than Valo, honestly. And that's why I just knew that I could finish her before the beams are coming back. Because I really wanted that sub 40. This category ends when the final boss's HP bar disappears, so this was exactly a sub 40. And that's Afterimage 80%. Yeah. Real fun game. Casually and as a speed run. Highly recommend it. Yeah, thanks for watching.